But anyway, we will get on with business. So let me just put the short video up where we hear what Muslims are claiming overall when it comes to the preservation of the Quran dot by dot. There are a couple of Muslim missionaries and scholars are going to make a claim how Quran has been preserved dot by dot, letter by letter. After that, we will bring some Islamic traditions and then probably get some explanations from Muslims. What I have done is I put the link in the chat for people to call in, and topic is the word by word preservation of the Quran. So please call in only in that topic. Don't abuse and harass the link. I put it there. And then hopefully we will have some healthy discussions, and then some of our basic questions will be answered by God's grace. So let me get our attention to this short video, and then we take it from there.
Our claim, the Muslim claim, has been for the last 14 centuries that the Quran is absolutely word by word preserved. I repeat, our claim about the Quran, and we stand by that claim to this day. In 2020, we stand by that claim that in the light of evidence and otherwise, the Quran is preserved word by word, and it can be traced back to the Prophet ﷺ, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, word by word.
And frankly, you know, the Quran has been preserved, we believe, since the time of the Prophet till now, word for word, letter for letter, haraka or vowel sign for vowel sign.
There is not a book on the planet Earth in human history that has been preserved like this, in its reading, in its articulation, in its pronunciation, in its preservation. There is not a book on the planet Earth which has been preserved like the Quran.
So Muslim on planet Earth or elsewhere have no doubt whatsoever that the Quran has been preserved to the letter, to the dot and to the sound when we talk about this.
It is amazing. The Muslim Ummah has its fair share of strange ideologies, different sects, different beliefs, different groups. But guess what? All of these groups, no matter what their sect and understanding of Islam is, their Quran is exactly the same. Their Quran is exactly the same. And no group of Muslims around the world believes in another book they call the Quran that is not our book. The Quran shall remain uncorrupted, untouched, and unchallenged until the day of judgment. No one shall be able to tamper with the Quran. No one shall be able to bring a false copy of the Quran, and the Muslims will be fooled and say it is a false copy. And therefore, to this day, the Ummah has never disagreed about its holy book. O Muslims, thank Allah for this blessing.
And the Quran, there's only one Quran. There are no various versions or whatnot. It's one standard copy of the Quran across the Muslim world. And really, there's not been any variant versions of the Quran. The Quran is the Quran for all sects and schisms and groups of Islam. And we also, all Muslims take pride in the fact there is but one Quran. There's no variants of the Quran.
If it were the case that right now, at this moment, every single mushaf, meaning book or parchment wherein the Quran was inscribed, was to disappear right now, overnight, in every single Muslim community, you will have exactly the same book, with exactly the same letters, with exactly the same vowelings, emerge and be transcribed and be recited out loud amongst every single Muslim community worldwide. That's special.
So Hafs transmission throughout the world has remained preserved to the dots and letters and sounds and vowels.
As we all know, the Quran has been preserved word for word.
Today's Musaf, it is exactly the same, word to word, letter to letter.
This book, the Quran, is Kalamullah, غير مخلوق. It is the words of Allah, not a part of the makhluk. It was revealed to the Prophet ﷺ and preserved word by word, letter by letter, harf by harf. Even the pronunciation is preserved.
The Quran that we read is exactly the one that was given to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. word for word, letter by letter, surah by surah, the whole Quran. It retains purity. Allah promised in the Quran, Inna nahnu nazzalna zikra wa inna lahu lahafizun. Surah 15, ayah number 9. Allah says that it is Allah who has revealed this zikr, this message, the Quran. He will protect it. No change, it retains its purity.
So these are certain individuals whom kind of publicly expressed on the preservation of the Quran, and some of the faces, you know, and even probably you remember like funny statements from those faces. I haven't come across, if you do, please let us know, send us the link, that where Muslims are kind of stating that they stand corrected, they misrepresented what is the reality. So as you heard from those clips that Quran apparently preserved dot by dot, letter by letter, word by word, sound by sound. So we are not going to focus dot, sound and letter part. We want to focus on the word by word part, and we want to see if that was the case by in the time of early Muslims around 7th century, 8th century, 9th century. What was the story? We first kind of take a tour to time of Muhammad, and then we will see what actually happened when it comes to the writing down the Quran. So before I do that, Brother Jai, would you like to kind of add anything? Do you want to summarize what we are going to do? And then I'll ask that to Daughter as well, Daughter of Christ as well, and then we move on from there.
Okay, sure. Yeah, now what you guys have heard us speak about in the past a lot has to do with either different manuscripts or different readings that are considered canonical or non-canonical readings today. What we're doing is we're going before this period, before the different variant readings, and we're going earlier than that. We're going to the companions, which these readings, they claim to derive their narrations of the readings from, but we're going to go to some narrations from the companions where they talk about how they learn the Quran and how they teach the Quran to others. And we're going to be focusing in on particular details, such as, were they concerned with word for word preservation? In other words, just like these Muslims were saying, has the Quran been preserved in that way? For the vowel sign for the vowel sign, the letter for the letter, the word for the word. Was that the mindset of the early Muslims, that they were concerned with keeping the exact pronunciation of how Muhammad would have said a particular verse? Or were they interested in maintaining some general meaning to the verses? And so this is sort of a series that we're doing. This is part one of a larger series that we're going to be doing, and we're going to be covering a few different sources that I think will help us conclude that they were not concerned with word for word preservation, as we'll see in the example that we have for us today.
So we are proposing that actually while 21st century Muslims and Muslim missionaries and sheikhs, all that circle states perfect preservation of the Quran dot to dot, letter by letter, sound by sound, word by word. We are proposing actually at the time of Muhammad, that was not the case, that was not the intention. Correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Good. Lots of things can get lost with my pronunciation, with my accent, as I'm sure like today we will be noticing lots of those differences are all depend on the different accents. So, beloved, do you want to kind of bring up anything before we start?
Yeah, exactly that. The companions of Muhammad, the ones who lived with him, breathed with him, walked with him, they didn't have any respect for the words of the Quran. That's it. They didn't care. No, really, they didn't care. I don't know what to say. Like, it's not about the vowels and the accents. They didn't care about the words themselves.
Okay, so I guess you are stating that by having in the background how background of Surah 693, a scribe kind of gives up Islam because he simply kind of thinks, oh yeah, I can get the same revelation or same quality of revelation which Muhammad receives, or did you have something else in the background?
Yeah, I can see why they had no respect, because Muhammad himself didn't have a respect for all-knowing, all-wise. Now put it as all-forgiving, all-merciful. It's okay. Switch it around. Doesn't matter. And that's what his companions did after him. To what they got, they switched it around. And we'll do another example, sister, to the one you mentioned about Muhammad. We'll do one from his companion.
Okay, so where should we start?
We can start with the example that you decided on, sister, Surah 44, verse 43.
Okay, so give me a second because I did something and then I am behind the things. So let me just get the...
It's okay. I can say hi to people in the chat. I haven't said hi to them for a long time.
Oh.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. Hello. 37 different Arabic Qurans. God bless you. George Pierce. Hello, Isaac. Hello, Bart Connolly. God bless you. God bless you, Phil. We have a running joke, sister, about Brother Phil, that he's got such a big notebook because he keeps saying, bring your notebooks. His notebook is bigger than the eternal tablets.
I wouldn't be surprised with that, but like make sure you are nice to him because he's like, seriously, he's the kind of source of references. If you need any reference, just like go to YouTube and then find the comments from Brother Phil, and then you can get them all. You can get them all on the screen. Okay, so I am on the Quran.com. Surah 44, verse 42. So I'm going to start with from verse 42 so that people have the kind of context of it.
Okay.
Surah 44, verse 41. Let's say start with that one. Beloved, would you like to read it for us?
Yes. It says...
Sahih International. Let's go with the Sahih.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
The day when no relation will avail a relation at all, nor will they be helped, except those on whom Allah has mercy. Indeed, He is the exalted might, the merciful. Surely the fruit of the tree of Zaqqum will be the food of the evildoer, food of the sinful. Sorry, that's Sahih International.
Okay, so verse 43 and 44 states, indeed, the tree of Zaqqum, that's one of this lovely tree in hell. Yeah, in hell. That tree is for sinful people. So this is what current Quran states. And why do we have, first of all, a problem with what the Quran states at the first place? That we want to check this out. Like, why did this get our attention?
Well, Brother Joy actually got it to our attention about the verse, the tree of Zaqqum, which apparently the sinners in hell will be eating from this tree.
Okay, so let's go to Islamic tradition and then see what does Islamic tradition states on this. So we've got Arabic and English will be on the screen. If anyone has any problems, like you can simply read the Arabic, it will help you to think through. So first we go to Ibn Kathir. Actually, you've got Arabic here. You've got the similar thing in Ibn Kathir in English as well. They've got the similar story. So according to Islamic tradition, we get to read this tree, which according to Hafs Quran, it is for sinners. According to Islamic tradition, there was a discussion regarding if this tree is for orphan but it end up being for sinners. So sinners and orphans has different meaning. You can be sinner, but you don't have to be orphan. You've got proper family stuff, like you're still alive. Would you like to read it this or?
Yeah, this is from Tafsir ibn Kathir online. I've put the link. Ibn Jarir said, narrated to us by Muhammad ibn Bashar from Abdul Rahman, from Sufyan, from Al-Amash, from Ibrahim, from Hammam ibn al-Harith, that Abu Darda, Sister Abu Darda is one of the companions of Muhammad. He was instructing a man in recitation. The tree of Zakum is the food of the sinner, Al-Athim. The word for sinner is Al-Athim. So the man said, the food of the orphan, Al-Yatim. So Abu Darda said, say the tree of Zakum is the food of the Fajr, meaning the evildoer. So he changed the Athim up to Fajr.
Okay, so since I'm not very good with understanding skills, let me just understand. So you've got three words here: sinners, orphans, and evildoers. You've got different Arabic words for those words.
Yeah. Yeah.
And someone is saying this tree is for sinners, and then someone is saying, oh, this tree is for orphans, and then it end up being in the Quran, this is for sinfuls.
Yeah.
Brother Jai? Brother Jai, we've
Yes.
got a problem here. What is happening? Why do we have a problem here?
So if we go to other versions of this tradition, for example, in Al-Tabari, we see that after he continuously was doing this over and over again, so you can kind of get an image of the situation when he's reciting this to him. He is saying that, so the companion of Muhammad, Abu Darda here, he's saying the word athim, meaning sinner. And every time he says that, the guy, he says yatim, athim. So he's saying sinner and he's saying orphan. And then in Al-Tabari, the reason why I mentioned that is because it says that it clues us in as to why he changed the word here. Because it says he saw that he didn't understand. So it's not that he's just pulling from a wide range of acceptable readings that he learned from Muhammad. That's not what it's saying. It's like, oh, he can just learn this way or this way or this way because I learned all of these from Muhammad. No, what he's saying is, it says that he saw he didn't understand. He didn't comprehend. And so then he's telling him how to say the verse instead. So in other words, okay, forget the word athim. Forget the word athim, because you keep saying yatim. Forget the word sinner. You keep saying the word orphan. Now I want you to say fajr, just wicked or immoral. That's the word I want you to say instead. Where did he get this from? Where did he get this idea from that he could just substitute these words? Where did he get this idea from that he could just change the words of the Quran? Well, this gets us to what we originally said at the beginning, was that early Muslims, they saw that they had this sort of freedom to change the words, and we're going to get into more sources in the future to explain this even further. But we can see from this example alone, here you have a companion, Abu Darda, who is teaching someone the Quran, and because this person wasn't understanding, he changed the word altogether.
So if, let's say, I'm just like trying to be nice Muslim here. Let's say if the intention of, so like Quran comes to people who are not capable to, Quran comes to man who is not capable to write, okay? So therefore, we don't have much expectations from his followers. So wouldn't you say, like, for example, sometimes other day, someone like was helping me to pronounce how to say consequences. I don't know if I said it correct or not right now, but I did some practices on how to say that, because the way I was saying apparently was wrong. And then someone left a voicemail to say, like, this is how you need to pronounce that. I repeated that a couple of times. And then if you repeat something again and again, you get to learn it. So why, like in this occasion, so this guy is like repeating Atham, is that how you pronounce it?
Athim.
A
Atim.
theme.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Atim.
And instead of
Atim.
saying a theme, he was saying yatim. Yatim.
And
So
Atim.
that's the word
I
orphan.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
but so
And then he just gets, you can almost
fed up.
sense the frustration.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
he's just like,
I
okay,
know
just
that.
forget it and say fajr. Just say that
So
instead.
wait. So Hatun, the Turkish lady, can say the Atheme word after only once, and this Arab, he couldn't
Atim.
say it.
Oh well, sister, you know I am unique. Yes, so
You're
like,
very unique.
yeah, in here, like he's not help. Like he kind of helped him, but this guy still didn't get it. He can't pronounce th together. Turkish people can't pronounce th as well. So what he does is he, like, just makes it yatim, and then guy kinds of, okay, I fed up. I experience this quite a lot. You kind of try to pronounce something and then listener feds up and then just like, okay, just go with this one. I think they've done the same thing.
So when he's fed up, he changes a word in the Allah's Quran?
Yes. And this is not Allah's Quran. This is like eternal word of Allah, the one like revealed to Muhammad. And Abu al-Darda is not the someone who received revelation from Allah. Or like Brother Jai pointed out, like he's not saying, oh, also this verse revealed in different than like in another harf or something. He says like, okay, I can see you are just like stupid in here. You can't pronounce this. I'm going to give you a different word. People were simply playing with the word of Allah, changing. It's not like, would you say like Arabic is the different? Like I can see pronunciation is different and they are written differently. Would you say like they can be simply like same meaning?
You mean which one? You mean yatim? Yatim means orphan. It doesn't mean sinner.
No,
At all.
yeah, for the like, because main word
fajr.
is the sinner, main word is the atim, and then versus fajr.
Yeah, Fajr is
Fajr.
a very Fajr is an evil, wicked doer. It's someone who grievously sins. Athim just means someone who sinned, whereas Fajr is like extremely bad sinner.
Okay, so that's
Immoral, like what my brother Jai said, like depraved. So it's not exactly the same. So, but it doesn't matter. He shouldn't have changed Allah's Quran, because now that person whom he's been teaching, the stupid one, sorry, he's gonna tell his descendants and his descendants different.
Yeah, and then
And
it
by
ends
the
up
way,
in today's Quran is different.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jai?
and by the way, this is not the only time the word atheme appears in the Quran. So did he do this every single time? Because I saw someone write in the comments, they said maybe it's a speech impediment or something, or they said like we want to know, like we want to know that we don't have the answer. We don't know exactly what was going on. Either Abu Darda, maybe he was bad at pronouncing it himself, and or maybe he had some sort of speech impediment, and then the guy he had like some sort of hearing problem, or maybe a speech impediment, or whatever it was. We don't know. We can't get that information from the stories that we have. So it could be that, it could be something else. But the point is that he replaced the word of Allah. It's supposed to be letter for letter preserved, the dot for dot, the vowel for vowel. It's supposed to be preserved exactly as Muhammad would have taught it, right? That's what these guys were claiming in the video. That's what the Dawah group in the video were claiming, that's how the Quran has been passed down and preserved through the ages. But that's not what we see here. What we see here is an instance where, for whatever reason, after he kept saying the sinner, al-athim, the guy kept saying al-yatim, the orphan. And then he's like, okay, just say al-fajr. And like our sister said, fajr, someone immoral, someone wicked. You could say that it's synonymous in meaning, but there's also some sort of, there are other connotations for it as well. We don't have to get into the exact definition, but they're not exact synonyms. They're not exact synonyms with each other.
But even if they were synonyms, who says anyone can walk in and just change a word in the Quran to synonym?
Right. That's the main point. Exactly.
Another
I mean, going. Sorry,
go
go ahead.
brother.
No. I was just to add to the sister's point that's exactly what we're saying. Like this is the entire point. Where did he get this idea that he could just substitute this word from? Where did he get this idea that he had this liberty to just change the words of the Quran? So if this guy asked him, this person who's learning the Quran, if he asked him, well, how is it written on the preserved tablet? Because the way that you're teaching it to me is the way that I'm going to teach my sons, and they're going to teach their sons and their sons, and et cetera, et cetera. So how is it written on the preserved tablet? Is it a theme? Is it yatim? Or is it fajr? Which of the ones is written on the preserved tablet? Now, of course, if he's going to answer like the sheikhs do today, then he would say that it's in the realm of the unknown and we don't have access to it. But that's a legitimate question. How is the Quran actually preserved? Is it preserved letter for letter, word for word, as they say in that video? Or is it some sort of approximate meaning? So a theme and fajr, you could say, yeah, they're similar in meaning, so we can just substitute them for each other. Is that what's going on? You have the liberty to just change the words at a whim because you get frustrated that someone can't differentiate between two words, so you just change Allah's words. And like I said, this is not the only time that the word athim appears in the Quran. So if this guy had some issue with hearing the word athim, the word sinner, did he change it every single time he heard it in the Quran, or is it just here? Well, we don't have those details, we don't have that answer in this story. But as we're going to continue in the series, we're going to see that this is a constant problem or a constant issue to the Muslim narrative today.
Yeah. Okay, brother, we've got someone on the line. Let me just unmute the person. Hello?
Hello?
Sir, can you speak a little bit louder for me?
Hello?
Sir, we are talking, tell us who you are, and we are talking about the word by word, not preservation of the Quran. What do you have for us?
Hello?
We can hear you, sir. Okay. Don't abuse the link. Do not abuse the link. So yes, if you are Muslim and if you've got helpful answer for us, and if you want us to kind of if you want to have a conversation on that, please feel free to click the link and call us in. So just pick up what you said, Jay. Wouldn't you say it will be more wiser or more helpful if, like, so this is what the word of Allah is. I help you to pronounce it, Mr. Muslim, and you cannot pronounce it. Therefore, you cannot be on my list, or you cannot be like on my kind of official student as to learn the word of God. Then you move on to the next person. Like if you kind of pushed it, and then person can't get it, you just like, okay, I can't handle you anymore. And then you move to the next person. That's like my first kind of comment. And then my another comment, I love to hear brother and sister what you think. But so if you made the point, so this word atom has been used in the Quran in a couple of other occasions. So if the person cannot pronounce this word, like what happened to the same word in other verses? Let me just pick up the call, brother. Hello? Guest has muted himself. Sir, can you unmute yourself? Sir, we are talking about the preservation of the Quran. Have you got anything to share with us besides being baby?
Hello? Shush.
Okay. I just want to add another point, sister, to this. If you poll, any Muslim or I've heard this from many ex-Muslims, and maybe you sisters have had this experience. But when you're learning the Quran, I've heard examples of people getting beaten. They're getting some sort of violence is being done to them if they mispronounce a single vowel forget about
Yeah.
like, you know, atim and yatim, where we're not just talking about vowels, we're talking about consonants. I mean, anyway, I've heard examples where people are getting beaten because they can't pronounce a certain word, or they have trouble pronouncing a certain word, and they get beaten until they learn the pronunciation.
Do you
So
did
there's
you see,
that's one of
brother, just a moment, did you see the clips where, like, in mosques, there were clips in the mosques that this child, not adult but a child, cannot memorize the certain verses, therefore, like, they hang the child from his leg in the mosque? Did you see those clips, like how it is like proper serious for you to, like,
yeah,
pronounce it
I've seen
very well?
similar I've seen similar videos to that, and I've heard testimony from people as well that that's what happens. And so there's that approach, like, you know, very, very strict approach, where you force them to learning the proper pronunciation enforced by violence. Then there's another approach where he could have simply, because, you know, people were asking, like, okay, maybe he had a speech impediment or something like this. Okay, but even if that's the case, you can still use the word in a sentence. Just help the guy explain, like, maybe he's got some sort of issue, he couldn't hear the word, maybe Abu Darda is bad at reciting the Quran or something. I don't know, but maybe just use the word in a sentence and say, no, I'm not saying orphan, I'm saying sinner. And then he defines what sinner means, or he uses a sentence with the word sinner. You're saying orphan, here's what orphan means. I'm saying, I mean, we don't get the full story. Maybe he did do something like that, but eventually he just got frustrated. It says he saw he couldn't understand, and you sense he got frustrated, and then he just changes the word altogether. So there are many different ways he could have tackled this, but instead he just changes it. And the only reason why that is so striking is because it goes against how Muslims present preservation of the Quran today. That's why this is so striking. If we didn't have this idea that this is how the Quran is supposed to be preserved, then this wouldn't really be so much of a surprise. We would just say, okay, well, he didn't think that's how you preserve the Quran. You don't go according to word for word. You just go according to some approximate meaning or something like that.
Yeah.
But because Muslims say this is how the Quran was preserved, this goes against what they teach themselves, like their children. They teach the new Muslims, they teach themselves this. And if they lie to them about this stuff, then what else do they lie about? And so this is kind of like the gateway question. It's the gateway question to get them to think about what other things they've been lied about, I think. So yeah, go ahead, sister.
This is the foundation of Islam, and it seems foundation of Islam is being, they lied about the foundation of Islam. So what I have here, so corpusquran.com, okay. Let me put that on screen. So in Corpus Quran, you can see the word which we are kind of dealing with. Where else it has been used? Okay.
Yeah. So if you scroll down where it says adjective, you'll see the exact form. It's used in that exact form over and over and over again, right there. This is athim. It's used. That's the exact same word. Al-athim with the definite article. That's the exact same word that's used in this verse.
It's been used in same form. It's been used in 7 verses, in 7 different places. And
so did he change all of these, you think? I mean, we don't know, but I mean, I wonder if he had a problem with that one verse, why would he have no issue with other verses with the same word?
Concerning, especially as you expressed, claim is dot by dot, letter by letter, word by word. Claim, that's the claim. That claim is being made. And now we are looking early tradition of Islam. We are seeing actually it's not like that. It's not even like person is not even saying, remember, you've got other stories where person says, oh, because Quran is revealed in 7 different ahruf. But in here, that's not the case. In here is like issue. Person simply says like, okay, I can't handle this anymore. Person says like, I see you don't understand. Sorry, I moved too fast. In Tabari account, he says, I see you don't understand.
Right.
Therefore,
and just to say on that, oh, sorry, I thought you were, go ahead, sister. Yeah.
Yes, so I see you don't understand. Therefore, let's go with like brand new word. Here's the new word. From now on, pronounce and use this word. And it brings like serious questions on, remember, right recitation is going to intercede for Muslims on the Day of Judgment. And Mr. Abu al-Darda is simply affecting people's eternity.
Yeah, is this Quran that he's teaching him? Is this the one with the word Fajr instead of Al-Athim? Is this the one that's Al-Fajr? Is this the one that's going to be interceding now? This other Quran? So in the hadith, the tradition about the 7 ahruf or the modes or however you want to translate that word, it's always met with some sort of doubt or surprise by the Muslims.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that they just knew about. This always caused concern. It's always caused doubt. And we've covered this before, but that's just to say we don't get a sense that he's saying, yeah, I heard Muhammad say it like this and I heard him say it like that, because it seems like whenever this happened, the companions were so shocked when they heard it in different ways. None of the companions in those accounts ever said, oh, yeah, I did hear Muhammad say it like this and like that and like this and like that. It's always met with extreme doubt and surprise or something like that.
Not good, not good. Daughter of Christ, are you like shocked? You are silent over there.
I'm shocked, yes, because you know the children that you said were hung in the mosque by the legs because they miss one letter.
Yeah.
They're not even Arabs. They're not even Arab speakers, most of them. And you got this Arab from the place of Muhammad, taught by the companion of Muhammad, who can't get it. And the first option he says is no respect. No respect to the Quran. The first option he goes to is, you know what, change it up. Change the Quran up. I could spend a bit more time trying to, you know, teach my fellow Muslim, or just say, look, you're not going to get it. Or just explain the meaning and say, forget recitation, you're not a good reciter. Just let me explain the meaning. No, first thing he says, you know, he says to him, say. He's saying to him to recite.
A command,
command, yeah. Inna shajarat az-zaqum ta'am al-fajr. Yes, so yes, say it's the food of the fajr, of the evildoer.
Let me just pick up the call. Hello?
My fellow, or just say, look,
can you please mute your YouTube, please? Dear caller, please mute your YouTube. Hello? Hello, sir or ma'am?
Hello?
Oh, hello.
Hello, Hatim. You're right.
Yes. Can you tell us who are you? And we are talking about the preservation of the Quran.
My name's David. I'm a Trinitarian Christian. Yeah, I'm a man of God, and I'm just here to like discuss and learn about Muhammad.
Okay, we are talking about the preservation of the Quran. So, have you got anything to share with us regarding the story we are looking so far?
So basically, we all know that Uthman has burned books of has burned Qurans, and there is a verse I've been looking at recently. Does this allow me to screen share?
You can share screen if you...
Okay.
Maybe first make your point. First make your point.
Sister, I just want to advise some caution. I don't know if you know this person or not, but just in general, people shouldn't just share screens because they might, you know, we don't know everybody, and so it just for caution, just for the stream's sake.
Yeah, when they share the screen, I will able to see what they.
But they can always like switch the windows or something.
Yeah.
They can always like switch the windows or something like that.
Yeah. Sir, are you there? Sir, are you able to make your point?
I don't think this works.
Okay, that's fine. Make your point. Oh, person hang it up. Okay. So let's get our attention to the story. So we've got I'm sorry, who was speaking last before I took the caller?
It was me, Hattie.
Okay,
I
sorry.
was just saying.
Yes.
Yeah, I was saying it was no respect.
Okay, so
that
yeah, you were making a point regarding like today, 21st century, they are forcing and even torturing non-Arabs to recite the Quran in a perfect form. But what we see is in 7th century, people would just like give up new word because person is not able to understand to pronounce it.
Yeah, so I think they just progressively became more cultish, is the word I would use, about the Quran. When it was just a easy breezy, easy going, Muhammad changed the words, Abu Darda changed the words. In future episodes, sister, we'll see how other companions who were Muhammad's contemporaries, they changed the words. And right now, we've got Dawah gangs, word for word, letter by letter, sound by sound. This evolving of being cultish about the Quran's preservation when it was never the case.
Yeah. So I think it was yesterday's stream, which Brother Jai, we put up your video. It was just over an hour. You were going through some stories, and then also you mentioned these sources as well. And then it was the same thing on Sunday when I was questioning Mr. Muslim at Speaker's Corner. The rebuttal to this was actually like it's Tabari. So Mr. Tabari become not reliable now. And Mr. Ibn Kathir is not reliable either. What would you say to someone who simply discredits the source?
As you mentioned, it's not just At-Tabari, but it's also Ibn Kathir.
Yeah.
So it's not just one source, and and it's not just one time either. At-Tabari, he has if you go to the At-Tabari page, he mentions two so this account and the one he mentions two versions, like two different how do you say narrations of this, and then there's another hadith, or not hadith, what's it called, another commentary from At-Tabari, where he mentioned, so I think he mentions it like a total of 3 times throughout his commentary, at least 3 times. And then we have it in Ibn Kathir as well, and I'm sure that if we wanted to, we could search elsewhere for it in other sources to kind of multiply it. But the person that you were talking to, they don't really accept any sort of tradition, so it's hard to get through to those people. They don't realize that the same tradition that they reject for the hadiths and the change of narration is the same one that they rely upon for their Quran.
Yeah.
So the guys who say, I don't accept these change of narration about, from this, because At-Tabari he's saying the chain of narration, he's saying, I heard it from this person, said to this person, and here's the story. That's exactly how the Quran was passed down. So if they're going to reject that, they should give good reason for why they should accept the chain of narration of the Quran and then reject stories like this.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's not the position of Muslim scholars to just outright reject this. We actually have examples where they talk about these stories and they try to give different explanations as to why he gave these different words, and we covered some of them. Some people in the chat, maybe without realizing, they actually said some of the responses from different Muslim scholars. So the idea that this is just untrustworthy or unreliable, you have to think, well, who would make up this tradition? Right? Why would someone make up this tradition that the Quran was changed by a companion? And these are Muslims who are saying this tradition. At-Tabari is a Muslim, right? He's the one who all other commentators in the Sunni tradition spring forth from. He's like referred to as the father of commentaries or something like that. Like that's where all other commentaries derive from, according to Yasir Qadi. Now, if you're going to reject him and say that he's just unreliable here, okay, we have Ibn Kathir and we have other people. So why are they all reporting the same story? And you know, we're talking about from your tradition, the way that you accept things. There's no reason for you to reject it. We're not talking about a Christian, whether a Christian should accept it or not. We're talking about a Muslim, a Muslim accepting it within his own tradition, within his own framework. There's no reason for him to reject it.
Thank you for that. Beloved daughter of Christ, got any comments?
Yes. If you were going to reject a scholar, you need a bigger scholar to reject your scholar. For example, if you're going to reject Tabari, you need someone older than him to, you know, to say, actually, this was not true, or someone bigger than him. Tabari lived in the 3rd century Hijri.
Around 900s, yeah.
Yeah, 3rd century Hijri. Have you been earlier, closer to Muhammad than Al-Tabari? He's hundreds of years closer to Muhammad than you. Ibn Kathir lived at a different time, Hati, later than Tabari.
1300.
He said exactly the same thing that Tabari said. So these two people from different times are narrating the same thing. Third thing, we have a chain of narration. Muslims will keep talking. Where's the chain? Where's the chain? Where's the isnad? We have an isnad. We have Abu Muawiyah, Amash, from Ibrahim, from Hammam, from Abu Darda. And they do line up because Tabari is not that far from Muhammad. So these are the generations down it. And they do line up with the time. Third question I'm going to ask. Were you a better Muslim than someone who lived that close to Muhammad's time? Were you a better Muslim than him? Were you a better scholar than him? Do you have better Arabic than him? And those scholars were known for their piety. Like, they were obsessed with Islam and Muhammad. They spent their whole life writing about Muhammad, traveling and getting these traditions correct, bringing all this stuff and writing volumes and volumes. So show me the volumes that you've written. Show me the time that you were alive at. Is it closer to Muhammad? Show me a bigger scholar than the ones that you're rejecting. Show me that he was closer to Muhammad's time and that he's rejecting those. Then I'll believe you. But if you're in the 21st century, you don't know their names, you have never read their volumes, you've not been around Muhammad as close to them, and they were more obsessed with Islam than you are. Trust me, they believed more in Muhammad than you did. They spent their whole lives dedicated to him. If you've done that, then I believe you. Otherwise, you're a troll to me. There you go, sister.
Okay, so what I have here is, let me see if it's gonna work. Here's the, if you go to internet, you will see tafsir of Ibn Kathir on internet, and then when you read it regarding Surah 44 verse 42 to 44, you will see Ibn Kathir put, like, the website, Muslim website, kind of thought that was important, therefore they put the story in English translation on internet. Okay, so it is like accessible to everyone, and that clearly shows to me that Muslims didn't have that much problem as they were like copying and pasting or typing it down. And in here I do have the physical copy of Ibn Kathir. In here I've got the physical copy of Ibn Kathir, and then this is volume 8. Turn page, let me find it. Page 691, okay? In here, 691, you've got the same story. They wrote it down. And they are very kind, of course. They also put the footnote as well. Footnote for the evildoers, Tabari 2243 is the footnote. And then it goes on. So if that was not acceptable by Muslims, I would say your Muslim scholars simply add that or put another note to say, like, oh yeah, we disagree with that. But they are telling us this is what happened. This is what happened, and Mr. Muslim couldn't handle another Mr. Muslim because he wasn't able to pronounce the sinner. Therefore, I gave him the different word for him to pronounce. So that's like another kind of thing. Your Muslim scholars are quite happy to talk about this, with knowing in Islam you are not encouraged to study, it seems, I think, or just like listen what other person says instead of go and search it out. Just be better. Um, I am just gonna check the chat and then see if there is anything in the chat. If you've got any comments or anything. Oh, some people are timed out. Don't know why, but anyway.
As you look through the chat, sisters, I just want to say, in response again to the comments about perhaps he had like a lisp or a speech impediment or something, later Muslims came up with rulings about what to do with an imam, someone who leads the prayers in the mosque, if they had a lisp. And different Muslim schools came up with different rulings on what to do if the imam has a lisp, or if he's a non-Arab, like a foreigner, so non-Arab, and he can't articulate the letters. And some jurists ruled that he would invalidate the prayers of those who don't have lisps. So people who don't have communication problems, if they're under an imam who has a lisp and they're reciting it the way he's reciting it, then he invalidates their prayers. In some cases, they said that that's not the case. Some cases, they said, no, his prayers are still valid. So I'm saying there's not agreement on this from the Muslim sources. What I'm trying to get at is that if it's the case that according to some jurists, according to some schools of jurisprudence, it's forbidden for an imam to pray with a lisp, then why don't they use this kind of methodology of Abu Darda and just sort of substitute words for whatever words he has a lisp with, just change that word, change it for something that he can pronounce, with no problem. But
Brother,
yeah.
sorry, what is the how would you say that word lips differently?
Say again, sorry.
Lisp. Yeah, what does that mean?
Oh, a lisp. Oh, sorry. A lisp is, for example, some people have a problem differentiating between the letter S and SH, for example, or like, so that you call it a lisp. Some people that have problems differentiating between certain letters or certain sounds in a language, the language
you
that they
can't
speak.
say TH, for example. I can't say TH together.
For example, that's an example. So there's different type of ways to so that's an example. So certain schools of Islamic jurisprudence, they have ruled that it's not proper for an imam to have a lisp because he's going to be leading prayers and people are going to be reciting the way he recites. Now, I'm not saying every one of them agree with that. I'm just saying there are some jurists who say that that's impermissible. It's not permissible. So if they can't, I'll say it like this: if they can't articulate the Arabic letters correctly, maybe they're a foreigner and they have a problem saying that the letters properly or correctly, then some jurists say that they would invalidate the prayers. Now, if that's actually from the time of Muhammad, or let's say that if we kind of take the Muslim, if we say, okay, Muslims say that all of their traditions come from Muhammad and they're not guilty of innovation or bid'ah or anything like that, then if this is the case and one of these traditions goes back, like either you can have a lisp or you can't have a lisp, you can lead prayers or you can't lead prayers, we don't see any of that happening in these situations where here's a guy who can't, for whatever reason, I'm not saying he had a lisp, or I'm not saying Abu Darda had a lisp, but I'm just saying if that was a factor, then we don't see that anywhere in the story. But if that was something, then why didn't we see a ruling on it? Like, okay, this guy had a lisp, so there's an exception made for him. He can say this word instead. No, instead you just get a sense that he gets frustrated. He's like, okay, he can't understand, so I'm just going to say it like this. And so he just changes the word altogether. So Muslims have complicated, this kind of lisp issue in history. What became the Orthodox view, the Orthodox Muslim view, that is, like the Sunni view, what became that view really excludes all of these other options of that the Quran wasn't preserved in a word for word manner, that's like a heretical view or something. So anyway, I'll just finish up with saying that then, because
I don't agree with this lisp thing. Sorry, it's not a lisp, because he doesn't change one vowel sound, he changes a whole word. Plus the account doesn't say he couldn't say it, it says he didn't understand. He didn't say he couldn't say it. He didn't say, for example, from atheme to asim. He changed two. He did atheme to yatim. So he changed ya and ta, and he changed the whole word. So he changed the whole word. So Abu Darda was struggling because he changed the meaning, not because he changed the pronunciation. He said when he saw that he didn't understand, not that he couldn't say it. And another thing is, even if it is a speech thing, are you saying that the word of Allah is not preserved against speech impediment? Allah says in the Quran, we will preserve our word. He didn't put in brackets unless there's a speech impediment. The Quran will be subject to everybody, to anyone who has any disability of any kind. Please change my words for them.
So you've got.
I don't hear that.
Okay. So Jai was kind of just making a kind of argument from the Muslim perspective. If that was the case, then this will be the kind of rebuttal stuff. But we do have, for example, Surah 495, I think. It's like Muhammad is reciting the verse, and then guy says like, oh, what about me, because this guy is disabled? And then suddenly Muhammad changes the verse, which can also include him.
But at least with Muhammad, you think, okay, maybe Allah has revealed it to him. You know what I mean? Muslims give him that get out clause. We know he was making it up. Everybody knows he's making it up. He even abrogated words because he made it up. But this one is Abu Darda. He's not given that privilege that Muslims can say, okay, maybe Allah changed his mind, revealed something different. He doesn't. How can you say this person is whatever, disabled, maybe has learning difficulties? Then I'm going to change Allah's words for the learning disabled. Where is the learning disability clause in the preservation of the Quran? If that's the case, then that's what Dawah gangs should say. Allah's words are preserved up until they were first encountered by the first mentally disabled person, or the first lisp, or the first speech impediment. If that's the case, then we've got millions of them in the Muslim world. Then the Quran hasn't been preserved because it's been hundreds of years and millions of disabled and millions of speech impediments. And it started at the time of Muhammad, the Abu Darda. Who knows what this person that he told the next generation, who were also may have had difficulties up until it came to us.
Yeah, which is like simply sad in a sense what claims Muslims are making. So today's Muslim world is making a claim that dot by dot, letter by letter, perfectly preserved. But we see actually, because Mr. Muslim couldn't make another Mr. Muslim to understand what he said, therefore he kind of give brand new word. I've been there. I feel for him.
Yeah, but we don't. So has anyone changed the words the Quran in the madrasa for you, sister? I don't think so.
No. Sorry, Jack.
You get beaten or you get kicked out. The imam comes, tells your parents, this one's no good. Don't
they
bring
humiliate you publicly.
Yeah, and everybody knows you can't recite. Bring us your better son or daughter. Bring them. Yeah. We don't want to waste our time with this one. That's what they do now. Sorry, Jai, you were going to say something.
Yeah. I was just going to say that my point with that is that these later schools, like for example, the Hanafis, say that the imam must be free from any of these defects. So he can't stammer, stutter, lisp, any of these impediments. It's not permissible unless he's the only one that's qualified, the only qualified reciter. Then there's an exception for him. Now, if that is something that so for like the Hanafis, let's say, if that's a ruling that's supposedly not an innovation or something like that, and it goes back to Muhammad, then why didn't Abu Darda, for example, just tell him, look, you can't say this word, so just we're gonna learn all the other verses in the Quran, but this one you just don't say it. Don't say this because you can't do it properly, so just don't say it at all. Right? Instead he changes it. So that would have been another option, like for these imams who have these defects, they're not permitted for the Hanafis, for example. So like unless there's an exception, like they're the only ones who can do it or whatever. If they're not permitted to do it, they're not saying like these guys, they because you're leading people in a community. So this guy, we don't know who this guy became. Maybe this guy became a leader of a mosque or something, and maybe this guy became a leader of some, but the way that he learned the Quran wasn't to adjust to whatever issue was going on. So this whole idea of speech impediment or hearing issues or whatever, this whole idea of any sort of defect, it's all assumptions. It's all, no one knows exactly why. The only thing that we know is that he couldn't understand, and then Abu Darda said that he saw that he couldn't understand, so then he just gave him another reading.
Yeah.
Right. Now that tells us that he didn't accommodate for him in any other way than to just, well, I guess he did it over and over again. So you get this idea that he kept making the same mistake over and over again. So that he just kept making the same mistake over and over again. And then he's just like, okay, fine. We're going to say, instead of saying a theme, you keep saying yatim. Instead of saying sinner, you keep saying orphan. We're just going to say fajr, wicked, immoral. That's what we're going to say. We're going to completely change it. Now, if one of these dawah people that you played in the video could go back in time and they could stand before Abu Darda in this kind of scenario here, in this situation, they would have complained and said, hey, which way did Muhammad say it? Did Muhammad say it al-athim, or did he say al-fajr? Like, which one did he say? Did he say the sinner, or did he say, like the wicked, the immoral? Because that's what they're saying. That's what they're proposing. The Quran was preserved as word for word, just like how Muhammad said it. You're going to say it, then they're going to say it exactly how Muhammad said it, and all the way down to today. But that's not what we see from this story. We don't get that impression at all. The impression that we get is that he felt he had the liberty to just change the words, and that's it.
Yeah, like there is a mosque, one of the mosques where I am. Their imam is originally from Germany. And I remember once we had a conversation on like how, as a German, like you learn the Arabic language stuff. He apparently had to go to Saudi Arabia and study there for a certain time and then learn the language and learn all those things. After that, he studied to become imam. So it's just that if you can't pronounce it, if you cannot meet with criteria, you just don't do it. But in here, a Mr. Muslim, Abu al-Darda, simply says like, well, that's the word, you cannot pronounce it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the alternative B. In here, alternative B is brand new word. That's just like, for me, that's sad. But also what I'm seeing is as a double sad. I picked up, noticed a couple of Mr. Muslims in the chat. And it is double disturbing and double sad that they've got no rebuttal. So I think they are quite okay that how early Muslims, as it suited to them, were able to and capable to change the word of God and play it around. That's sad. That's sad. Has anyone picked up any comment, or like I am seriously really correct, because when I saw the chat, people were talking about brand new topic. Mr. Muslims were talking about brand new topic instead of like just
I saw someone. Yeah, I saw someone advise us to speak to Muhammad Hijab and Yasir Qadhi directly.
Well, sister has tried. She taken the holes in the narrative Quran literally with her in her hands. She went to the park 4 times, brother, and they kept running away.
It's not me. It's the Muslim commenter who said that.
Okay, we're telling you, whoever said that. My sister has tried and sent a video, August 2021. She's running after them, asking them to please give us, tell us, and they said we don't, just walk away. 2 of them, the ones that we think are always linking arms, they're running away. Anyway, why are you asking for them? Come yourself. Sorry.
So those people, the people who you are pointing us to, they are not going to stand next to you on the day of judgment. So you should able to kind of come up with your own response, which kind of just satisfies, it gives you satisfied answer for your own question. Once you kind of got your answer, you will able to explain to us. That will be helpful. But like just pointing us to people who are running away from us and deplatforming us and don't want to engage with us is not going to help you. As well, it is not going to help the case of Allah and in his word. So we've got like pretty much big messed up here. what did Allah revealed at the first place, how easy it is that someone who simply knew the verses of the Quran was able to teach someone else that verse differently, however, whenever it suited to him.
Yeah, sister, can I just take a minute to just encourage the chat? When you guys see a Muslim who's desperately trying to get away from the topic of the stream, it's wise not to engage him on that topic, him or her, on that topic, because it's a distraction method. And what they've done is they've successfully taken your attention away from the topic to now the entire chat is talking about what the Muslim wants you to be talking about, and you're not actually focusing on what's being said on the stream. So I just wanted to encourage everybody who's engaging with this particular Muslim not to engage on these off-topic discussions, but please try to stay with us, try to direct him back to the topic, because what he's doing is he's getting you to, fall into his trap to take your attention away from what's being said on here and to whatever he wants you to do, because he knows that this is a problem for Islam. So it's a tactic, and unfortunately a lot of people are falling for it.
Yes, you can simply, when you see topic is being changed in the chat or brand new question came with which about the topic which we are not discussing, please simply ask them, what are you going to tell us about the story has been mentioned or hadith has been pointed out? What is your rebuttal? Let's not fall into their traps. It is not helpful to any of us.
Deny, distract, deflect.
Let's not fall into that.
Divert. I actually use it as a measure. When the more distraction and deflection I see, the more I know that we're winning, because it means that they're desperate not to speak about.
That means like they have still no answer. They've got no answer. Oh, I noticed something. Look, I am having this same issue with this guy, like the guy who is trying to pronounce at him. I used to say, when I used to say answer, I was like saying, the way I was saying was wrong. I think I corrected it. Is it correct, answer?
Yes, sister.
Look, even I can learn, but this Mr. Abu al-Darda couldn't handle it. What did he do? He simply couldn't take it anymore, and then he said, I'm going to teach you brown new word. Let's go with Fajr.
So what happened, sister, to Muhammad's generation being the best people in Arabic that could say, wow, the Quran is the miracle? They could measure the Quran's standard of...
happened.
They couldn't even say orphan or...
Yeah.
You can do better than them. You said it, a theme, and you're not even Arab.
Well, practice makes perfect. I'll practice more and more.
They obviously treasured it so much they were happy to change the words.
Yeah, such a shame. But I think that as concerns Brother Jai brought up, needs to be addressed by Muslims. If, of course, as I said, like at the beginning of the video, maybe we did miss. Maybe there are, because we don't keep eye on YouTube that much. I don't keep eye on the YouTube that much. But if any of those individuals whom we shoved on the clip to you, that they expressed that actually, yeah, we stand corrected. Yes, Quran is not dot by dot, letter by letter, sound by sound, word by word. It's not exactly the same. Please do send them to us, and then we will, of course, we want them to have that right to speak it out. So if they stand corrected and they express that, we want to give them that opportunity.
So, sister, I took the liberty of doing a parody video for this subject, sister.
I forgot about that.
I'm hoping you will play it. Keep an eye on the subtitles.
Yeah. Before we play, I think we should like explain the story just a couple more times, just so everybody gets it. No distractions. I promise you guys will think this is really, really funny. You just have to get the story first.
Yep.
So okay, again, we're going to go through this Is that right, sister? We're just going to go through the story one more time. We're going
Yeah,
to
so we've
summarize
got
the story.
first,
Okay.
let's go with Ibn Kathir. First read Ibn Kathir, and then after then go to Al-Tabari. Here's the Ibn Kathir is on the screen.
Yeah.
So you've got bunch of names. Move on from that names and then come to the main point, beloved.
Abu Darda was instructing a man in recitation. The tree of Zakum is the food of the sinner, al-athim. So the man kept saying, the food of the orphan, al-yatim. So when Abu Darda had repeated much to him and saw that he does not understand, he said, say, the tree of Zakum is the food of the evildoer, the Fajr.
Okay, so you read the Tabari version.
The Tabari, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, shall I read the Ibn Kathir?
Okay, let me just make sure I understood the Tabari one. You know, like some my understanding skills is like can be very bad. Like you need to break it down for me. So we've got Mr. Muslim A, Abu al-Darda. He's teaching Mr. Muslim B on Surah 44 verse 43. Sorry, Surah 44 verse 43 to 44. And the verse in current Quran states, the tree of Zakam is for sinful. Okay? So as Mr. Muslim al-Darda is teaching this Mr. Muslim, we don't know who is he, X. He says, this tree is for sinners. And then person says, no, this tree is for orphan. He says again, no, it's for sinners. Other person says, no, it's for orphan. This guy is like, no, it's for sinners. And then this guy can't take it anymore. And then he says, I see you don't understand. Let me teach you brand new way. This tree is for evildoers.
Yep.
Correct?
Exactly.
Correct.
Okay. So that was the Tabari version.
Yeah.
Let's bring
our...
Sorry.
Now, are you going to go to the parody? I just want to give a brief introduction before you go to the parody.
Okay, no, let's go to Ibn Kathir as well. So we look at the Tabari, and then let's look at the Ibn Kathir, and then we make sure like it made sense.
Okay.
No one missed it. Full attention.
Full attention, everyone. Abu Darda was instructing a man in recitation. The tree of Zakum is the food of the sinner, al-athim. So the man said, the food of the orphan, al-yatim. So Abu Darda said, say, the tree of Zakum is the food of the evildoer, Fajr.
Similar story. Mr. Muslim is trying to teach other Mr. Muslim the Quranic verse, and then finally other Mr. Muslim can't take it. What we are going to do is, let me give you brand new verse. And then he introduces brand new verse with the brand new word. Yes, Brother Jai, what are we going to watch?
Well, we should allow daughter to introduce it as hers, but I just wanted to say that this is like a reenactment. It's a reenactment of this story produced by our sister, Daughter of Christ. It's a parody, so nobody say, hey, that's not really what they're saying. It's meant to be. I'm laughing already. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just thinking about because I saw it already, so it's really funny.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
Oh. So you know that Hitler video that he's saying things in German and people keep changing the words.
Yeah,
we did the same thing with when I heard the story of the orphan and the sinner. I remembered something I watched from an Arabic film, and it was similar. So I just did a parody on it. And I just hope that you guys, it helps you see the story.
Yeah, it's like a reenactment of the story in form of parody. So hopefully you guys enjoy.
Should be fun. Someone asked what is the Zakum trees for. So that is a tree in hell. Smells very bad. Like we did a couple of videos on Islamic hell and heaven. It smells very bad and it's like tastes very bad. It's feeding the people who are in hell overall. But in this occasion, we are just trying to figure out this not lovely tree. Who is it for actually? Is it for orphans in Jahannam, in hell? Or is it for sinners? Or is it for evildoers in hell? So we were just trying to figure that out. Okay, I did download the video. Let me see where it is. Okay, are we ready?
Yes.
Okay, attention on the subtitles, please.
Get your popcorn ready.
No, don't get your popcorn ready. It's like takes 20 minutes for your brain to recognize you ate that. Get your coffee ready. Ready? I'm pressing, brother.
You'll be fine, Hattie, I promise.
Are you ready? I haven't watched it.
Ready,
That's not
ready.
very good.
Ready.
Okay, I think we will watch twice. Because probably I won't understand in the first one. Nothing personal, but I usually don't get those things. Let's first go.
Oh, are you there, sister?
Hello? Are you there, sister?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
So what did you think?
Well, beloved, you are fired. And beloved of Christ, you are fired too, brother. Both of you are fired, simply making mockery of the word of Allah. Not
It was
only
Jai's
making
idea.
mockery, putting that in a movie, and just trying to make people understand it.
It was Jai's idea, Hattie, not me.
Well, doesn't matter whose idea it is. Both of you were aware of it, and you were willing to make a mockery of the word of Allah. And I am officially gonna fire you until the
Look
next
at the
live
comments in the
stream.
chat. Look at the comments in the chat. That was hilarious. Everyone, people are finding it funny.
They thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. Look.
That's probably. Sister, why are you saying mocking? That's probably what happened in history with Abu Darda and that guy.
I don't
Yeah,
think that's what
think
happened.
I think it's a proper reenactment. You know, maybe even have a whiteboard, but
no, I don't think
or
this
blackboard,
Okay,
or whatever you call it.
what we are gonna do is I'm gonna show you the parts I strongly believe didn't happen. Okay, are you ready? So we will watch it again. Are you ready, guys? Okay, I don't think this part happened. I don't think any of the companions of Muhammad ever thought it was all right to kind of give the image about this amazing virgin stuff, and then
How do you know?
I'm just assuming like
maybe you're assuming the standard narrative, sister. But remember, it has holes. There's holes in it.
Yeah,
so
everything was
maybe
different.
we'll find. Maybe we'll find holes of the companions dancing.
No, brother. I've got Ottoman roots, okay? So when someone does the belly dancing, they are half naked, first of all. I have been in Saudi Arabia. I have been in like that Arabia part of the world. And I spent a couple of nights in these deserts. They take you under the sky and then they feed you in the tent, all those kind of things. So you get these desert experiences. Even in that, you got these dancers. They are more than half naked. So in here, you put these full dressed men and they're dancing and they're trying to learn to how to say new word and meaning of that word. I don't think that ever happened.
He's helping him understand, remember? So he's helping him remember with visuals.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
people have like different learning methods, you know, like maybe they associate like different things with different actions. Some people are good audible learners, some are good, you know.
So that's what the virgins will be doing.
Okay, so I am at this moment I am convinced if they were trying to teach them new words with using the dancing, I am sure it wasn't full dressed version of it. But let's continue.
Oh, that's the part you're saying is not accurate. Okay.
Yeah, that's let's continue.
Well, I could.
And of course, I don't think that like shaking the arms or shoulders part that would be ever done by dressed man in 7th century. But rest is like, rest will work.
Yeah. I thought that was really funny. I thought you did a good job, sister. I thought it was really funny, and it really you get kind of like the comedy aspect, but this is actually like the imagery. This is like the of what was going on. Like he's teaching him a word, he can't say the word, and so he just changes it altogether.
Yeah.
And then there's other traditions, like maybe some of this will make more sense for the larger audience in the future, because there's other sources that are mentioned that he says, for example, you can replace mercy with you can replace the words except for punishment with mercy, or mercy with punishment, and that's going to come up later. But we see that like all of these traditions like come together in this funny video.
Yeah, we thought we'd cheer you up, Hattie. All this perfect preservation.
It is perfectly preserved. Even like dancing skills are perfectly preserved. Like, I don't know if you ever, sorry, don't imagine, but those of you who will imagine, if you ever watch like belly dancings, and even like in Saudi, especially like in Dubai and in Saudi, they take you to the deserts and then you got those people. Still, those like body movements you get to see, it is never changed. Like, it's perfectly preserved. Yeah.
Belly dancing is perfectly preserved.
Yes, sister. Your video is example for that. Maybe there are holes in the Quran, maybe there are holes in the Quranic narrative, but not in the belly dancing and all those kind of things.
I think madrasas would be so much more fun if they were like that. Personally.
I think they think it's already funny when they hang someone on the thing. Well done, sister.
Thank you, Hattie. Maybe I'll do more parodies if I find more like them.
So now we know what Daughter of Christ does in her free time. She watches movies.
Oh, by the way, I watched that movie as a unbeliever before I was saved. I just remembered the scene when I heard the story of Abu Darda and that guy.
Someone is asking help for Sahih Bukhari 3036. Anyone knows what is that about?
Sahih Bukhari 3036.
Sunnah.com. What does Sunnah.com tells us? Anyway, anything else needs our attention? So I noticed like individuals in the chat, but I didn't kind of got any response regarding like what they have done.
Yeah,
what
I
is
didn't
the
see any
response to
Muslims
those, like, holes in the
interacting.
narrative?
Yeah, I didn't see any Muslims interacting on the topic today, the one that we discussed on the stream at least.
Yeah, I've been looking. I've seen 0 comments from Muslims.
I don't want to make it personal, but when I see Muslims are intentionally not engaging with the topic, I just kind of, there is something in me just like says, yeah, this is the topic for next couple of times. We will talk about it again and again and again.
Yeah, keep
and
pushing
then
it.
they will fed up, and then they will
I
finally
agree.
respond. But anyway, overall, I think we can give the summary of while Islamic Dawah gangs claims dot by dot, letter by letter, word by word preservation of the Quran. Just looking at the background of Surah 44, verse 43 to 44, we get to see actually, no, Quran is not being perfectly preserved to the word, but like guy just simply couldn't handle anymore with the bad pronunciation. Therefore he just like gives it whatever person can say. So it's very easy that people who did not receive the revelation from Allah is capable to change the Quranic words in brand new words. And actually we don't, am I right to think that we don't read from anywhere in Islamic tradition anyone says within like around until 900s this story is not true, or even in the time of Ibn Kathir anyone is saying, oh, this what Tabari and what Ibn Kathir is telling us is not true?
Yeah, the only ones
and
that
you
have
see that
problem is 21st century Muslims. Sorry, bro.
I was just gonna say, even you'll see this as a theme throughout, that all these sources we're gonna present, these are not disputed in terms of authenticity. They have ways of understanding them that, like Daughter of Christ and I were just discussing today. One of the ways is like hilarious, the way that one of the scholars addresses it. Like he thinks this is a really good. He thinks he's like a brilliant, answer, but it's a very weak response. But the point in terms of its authenticity is not contested at all. So yeah, these are not contested in terms of authenticity. They usually are just understood in different ways, but the ways they're understood in are not like, for example, they'll say, yeah, well, he chose this word because Muhammad taught him in different ways or something like that. Like, so they'll kind of try to make an understanding for an explanation, even though it's nowhere in the text. You don't get anything, any idea. So what they're doing is they're just reading their traditions into it. They're forcing their traditions, imposing them onto the text, onto the traditions. But if you're just reading it, you don't get that impression at all. You see that he just makes it seems like he's making a compromise and saying, okay, he doesn't get the word, okay, we can switch out words, no problem. You don't get the impression at all that he learned this exact word from Muhammad or anything like that.
Yeah, so in here you've got like great moment. He could simply say, okay, Muhammad told me those people who cannot pronounce between atim and yatim, you can do as fajr, but he doesn't say that. He says that he saw that he doesn't understand, therefore he's giving him brand new word. It's not like he's saying, oh, this is also how I heard from Muhammad, but
Exactly.
he sees the capability of the person, therefore he introduces brand new word.
Right. And so this idea that Muslims say, like, oh yeah, he taught it all these different ways and these are all acceptable ways, none of them can actually define for us what those ways were.
Yeah.
No Muslim can define for us what these ways were that Muhammad supposedly taught the Quran. And so that it's a big problem for them. They have over 40 ways of explaining what ahruf even means. So they're so confused on this. They have no idea, but yet they try to use it as an answer. Well, you can't use it as an answer when you don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
And sister and brother, outside of the 21st century and modern people in the chat denying, I have never read in any classical book of tafsir, of commentaries, anyone denying those scholars.
People had a little bit more dignity before. Now people don't have that much dignity.
No, seriously, outside of dawah gangs and the 21st century, like even from 10 years ago before the internet, you go to masjid, we hold like Tabari, we hold him up the, Tabari speaking, we listen, I haven't read any of the classical texts anywhere, even down to the 19th century. One of our big scholars, like in the country where I come from, they have writings. Never have I ever seen anyone deny these big commentators, ever.
Yeah. And when we're talking about this topic in particular, about variance and just that larger category of variance in general, not necessarily ahruf or qira'at, but just variance in general. This is At-Tabari. At-Tabari is the teacher of Ibn Mujahid. So Ibn Mujahid, he's the one who comes and he's the one who enforces his readings and what he says are canonical and what are not canonical. So this is not an area where At-Tabari is trusted or something. Like, his student is the one that Muslims all follow his particular rulings of canonization. So
yeah, it's akin to a Christian now saying, who cares what the Apostle John said? Do you know what I mean? Or
right.
Who cares?
Right.
It's like, who are you? Like, seriously, who are you? Who are you to be denying any of these? And if you do, you need to give me a source that is more authentic and closer to the time. Otherwise, you're just, like you said, you have no dignity.
Yeah, sadly, when people see like they do disagree, or they see that they cannot answer the basics, therefore they would kind of deny the sources and deny what they are saying. So we've got a caller. Let me just take the caller. Hello? Sir or ma'am, you have muted yourself. Can you unmute yourself, please? Sir, you have muted yourself. Can you unmute yourself, please? Okay, he's not gonna unmute himself. That was OB1. Choose to not unmute himself to join the conversation. Please do not abuse the link.
Does he have OB2 with him?
I don't know.
Make sure he has the other Obi-Wan and Obi-2.
I don't,
Because I
I
think,
don't
if
know.
I remember correctly, number 2 was better than number 1. Or maybe they're both worse than each other. I
And
don't
one
know.
of them was probably teacher, other one was student. But anyway, he chose to mute himself and not engage with us. That's absolutely fine. Anyway, so I did receive a couple of messages that people didn't get the notification for live stream. Well, if you will probably see the video on the chat. I don't know why you didn't get the notification. Maybe Miss YouTube has some issues with us. I don't know. If you are disappointed by that, you can always watch the video again, or watch the video on the channel. It will be there, and I think we will be kind of talking on this topic in a couple of more live streams to make sure that we kind of looked at a couple of more examples, and then everyone understood actually what early Muslims believed when it came to the preservation of the Quran versus what the claims Muslims are making today, because it will help us with our evangelism. Our intention is not just like shoving more holes in the Quran. Our intention is using these holes to introduce people to Lord Jesus Christ, because our God is glorious, his gospel is glorious. Only he can change and transform people. I just wanted to kind of speak for a minute to make sure I give intentional time to Kola, if he wanted to call it again, in case like there were technical issues, but I'm guessing no, he didn't want to call in again. So, beloved of Christ, Brother Jai, would you be kind enough and then summarize it for us, what we've done and what is the implication of this story, background of Surah 44, verse 43 to 44. And then I'll pass, I'll move on Daughter of Christ after you. Hopefully after that we will finish the live stream.
All right. Well, thank you, Sister Hatun and Sister Daughter of Christ, for having me on. God bless you both, and God bless the viewers. Thank you for watching. The topic today was about a companion of Muhammad who supposedly learned the Quran from him directly, and he taught it to somebody else in a way that differed from the way that Muhammad taught it from him. That's what we can kind of glean or learn from the story. I think it's a safe assumption to make based on the points we made earlier. And the point is that this idea of preservation is different than the one Muslims present today, that things are word for word, letter for letter, vowel for vowel, and that's disputed and easily proven to be false, that the early Muslims did not hold to this view. Based on this story, this is just one story. We're going to get into other ones in the future, Lord willing, as a larger part of this series, challenging the word for word claim that Muslims put out today. And this is serving a larger purpose to get Muslims to think about what they've been lied to about by their parents, by their imams, by their teachers, by the people who introduced them to Islam, that they've been lied to about this topic. There are holes in the standard narrative. And if you've been lied to about something so foundational, so fundamental as to the Quran, its preservation, its compilation, all of these things, then what else could you have been lied to about? And this kind of just serves to get them to see that they have been lied to, and that there's someone out there, there's God out there who loves them and cares for them and doesn't want to lie to them, doesn't want them to believe lies. So you've been lied to, your Islam is based on a lie, but there's someone out there who loves you and is the way, the truth, and the life, and that's Jesus. And we are hoping that this will serve as a way to get Muslims to leave Islam, and then we pray that God will use it to convict them and humble them and bring them to the feet of Jesus, to repent and to believe in Jesus.
Thank you very much for that, brother. As you were speaking, I remember the gentleman, the Hikmah guy. He was like he was the convert to Islam. He converted to Islam. He converted to Islam because of the preservation of the Quran. I forgot his name.
Oh, that's Sajid.
Yeah, like have some Hikmah guy.
Yeah, Sajid
Oh,
lately
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
some people decided to become a Muslim because they believed on the preservation of the Quran, and then they figured out, yep, they've been lied to, and they started to kind of justify that. I just put this comment on the screen from this Mrs. or Mr. I have no idea if I saw you before or not, but don't lie. Don't lie. I know Islam allows you to lie. Link is there. Link is open. Everyone to call in. We are not runners. So I don't think I can do any running, but I don't know about. I am sure Daughter of Christ can't do as well. And Jay has never been run from anything anyway. So don't kind of put those false comments. We are here if you want to express your thoughts as well as respond to the questions which we put forward, and then agree or disagree with your early Muslims. Platform was for you. That link was for you. You choose to, I don't think tonight anyone in this name called in. You choose to not use that link. You choose to not call in. You choose to run away from the challenge. And now you're just like crying like a baby. Don't do those things. Like, I think in 21st century we can do better. We can have like a little bit more dignity. You can have like hikmah. You have no hikmah. So don't like. I just thought I put that up in the intention, just like people are simply lying there. Anyway, beloved, what are your thoughts and take-ons of the night?
I end with how I started, sister. The reality is, the truth is, most early Muslims, companions of Muhammad, did not have any respect for the Quran's words, word by word. The first minute they get frustrated explaining it to someone else, they change the words up. Okay? That's reality. That's reality. That's what happened in real life. Muslims have been in this coma because of a bunch of dawah gangs and others who have probably taught the dawah gangs sometime in their lives, which you've played in the beginning, sister. Word for word, letter for letter, wherever you are, even on this planet Earth, or even if you're on Mars or whatever, you can be assured of this. You know, they're like the masters of speaking something into existence, hoping that it will happen. They hope that if they speak it enough with enough conviction in their voice, that it will make it true. It's not true. It's a dream. It's a coma. Sister, I read a story this week, sister, of someone who was in a coma for 10 years. And in that coma, he had like... I want to tell my story.
Beloved, just a second. Someone is calling
I
from
want to tell my
Skype.
story. Okay.
Skype is not working with eCam, but I'll pick it up in case it works. Hello? Hello, sir. Sir, are you able to hear us? Well, that was Obi-Wan who chose to hang up. I don't know if you were able to hear him or not, but...
No, we couldn't hear him.
We couldn't hear him, sister. He's trolling.
Okay, so from Skype to eCam, it doesn't work anyway. It was just 13 seconds he was bubbling and then he hung up the call. So because Skype and eCam Skype and the app I'm using doesn't work, please don't use Skype to call in. Beloved, I apologize, I cut you off. So can you start again from the story you were reading?
Yeah, I'm really angry at this person now. Cut me off on my story.
He has no hikmah.
You have no hikmah and you have... Anyway, listen to the story. So what I was reading was someone was in a coma for 10 years, Hati. In that coma, he had a wife and children and a whole life. Okay? When he woke up, he realized there was no wife and there were no children. It was all a coma. But it felt real to him. That's what the Muslims are like now with this preservation. It reminded me of them. Your whole life, all you hear is this bunch of dawah gangs, your mom, your dad, everyone saying perfect preservation, word for word, letter for letter, sound by sound. You wake up from the coma, you open up Tabari, you crack open a book, you know, if you're able to read, yeah, or maybe they're not translated or they hide it from you, and you find as early as Muhammad didn't care, telling his scribe, write whatever you want, as early as Abu Darda, who lived at the time of Muhammad, telling the person he's reading, change any word you want, change it from sinner to evildoer, who cares? Because he didn't understand. That's reality, Muslims. You're in a coma. Wake up. Don't be like that man who had a whole new imaginary family in his coma and then found out it wasn't real. That's reality. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, sister. So we want people to kind of just move out from the coma and then get into the reality and bow down to Lord Jesus Christ. That's the main purpose of this, bringing up these nasty stories of Islam. So I think we will finish here. Thank you very much, everyone who joined us in chat, and thank you, Muslims, for playing this silent game in the chat. But we are planning, since you plan to be silent, we are planning to continue on this topic again and again. Hopefully, by God's grace, you will fed up and you will come with some sensible answers to us. So what I'll do is I'm gonna play that clip again, the one which Daughter of Christ put together. We watch that, which kind of gives us the funny side of this reality, and will take us kind of back with that movie, short movie. And just wanted to also say a huge thank you to all moderators in the chat. Really appreciate that you are keeping people in order and helping us to kind of go do the live streams. Without you, I am very much aware that I do not express that enough, but without you, we wouldn't able to do what we are doing. So thank you so much for serving us. And also, beloved of Christ, Jai, thank you very much for being with us. Thank you very much for following your calling faithfully and helping us to expose the ideology of Islam in the intention that people will repent and turn to Lord Jesus Christ. We really appreciate all the gifts and skills you have and using those skills to serve Lord Jesus Christ. So thank you very much for that, brother. And
Thank you, sister, so much for your kind words. God bless you. It's an honor to be with you both and the audience, everyone. God bless you all. Thanks for having me. And Lord willing, we'll resume this series with more and more examples, of shining examples of holes in the narrative.
If I were you, I would just take that because not respond, because you will never get to hear that again, brother. Daughter of Christ, thank you very much for practicing your new skills and putting those videos together, as well as helping us with all these translations. So really appreciate all the gifts and skills Lord given to you and your faithfulness towards him, but above all your hearts towards him. So thank you very much for serving with us, being with us, and helping us to fall in love with Lord Jesus Christ again and again. So let's finish the evening with this short video in a sense of sad reality for Mr. Muslims.